back at it. Time travel. But before we start, so you know how we were watching Westworld while we were on deployment?
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, you remember the episode that they were growing the meat in that fucking factory or whatever it was on the tubes?
Kind of.
Like where
Is it when they went to like season 3 type shit?
yeah, and the dude beat the crap out of
Yeah.
the other dude and then whatever it was, right? Because he had run away.
Yeah.
All right. How close do you think we are to that? Like the chicken shortage, run out of fucking beef, the fish, like is that really gonna fucking happen? I don't know.
I think I don't know. I was talking to someone today about how much I enjoy the Impossible Whopper from McDonald's, or not
Yeah.
McDonald's, Burger King.
Yeah, yeah.
And McDonald's is coming out with their own Impossible Burger. I know Hardee's has the Beyond Meat
Do they really?
burger. Yeah, dude.
Hmm.
So all these things are going out there. The big difference though is for me, that's not meat, right? It's
No, it's not.
delicious.
Yeah.
It tastes really good, but it does not taste uh like ground beef. It doesn't taste like beef. It tastes like something else. Good, but not beef.
Uh,
So maybe we'll have tubes of whatever the plant-based foods are
maybe.
that look like meat.
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
Yeah, I got nothing on that one. I was just boggling my mind today. I was like, how close are we to just growing meat in tubes and not actually having animals?
I have no idea, dude.
Yeah, me
No idea.
neither. But welcome to Two Dummies and a Microphone with John and Lucas. Last week we talked about time travel, and this week we're gonna do part two and get back into it. I've been doing a little bit of research, and it's gonna be fun. So, welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, welcome. So last week we talked a little bit about the multiverse theory and how you can be like every decision makes another universe, another timeline, and how you can't really go back in time because you wouldn't go back to your own timeline. You would just go back to a timeline in which you would have already had time traveled, which kind of leads to everything being predestined, right?
Yeah,
Uh, and then I've been thinking we don't time travel, but we can see back in time, right?
uh,
If
uh,
if you have a strong enough telescope, right, and you're a light year away, whatever you're looking at looks like it's happening currently, but it's
yeah. I
happening
mean,
a
in the
year in the
yeah,
past.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, and this happened in two movies. Well, one movie, Interstellar, and it was in the book Ender's Game, which is like the relativity as far as traveling faster than the speed of light.
yeah. But Interstellar, weren't they on the planet that was close to the black hole? So one day was 7 years back on Earth.
Yeah, so exactly, but that's kind of how the gravity on that Earth was playing against essentially time itself. I think I have to
Yeah,
go back and rewatch the movie because it's been like a year or two since I've seen it.
yeah,
But Ender's Game kind of does the same thing. So when you're traveling at the speed of light, right? Even though you've traveled what feels like 1 year, like if you go 1 light year per month or whatever, right?
yeah,
It only aged you a month, right? Light years
yeah. It's a figure of speed or
it's
however you want to
it's
look at
it's
it.
a distance, but
Yeah,
you would have only aged 1 month, right? But by the time if you were to do a loop and that loop took you 10 years, right? And it's or 10 light years and you did each light year in a month. So for you it would have felt like 10 months. By the time you get back, you would have only aged 10 months, but everyone else would have aged 10
10 years.
years.
That's bananas, dude.
Right. So I personally don't consider that a form of time travel, but some people could
I
because
mean,
time was passing forward, right? It was always
yeah,
moving in a forward progressive kind of fashion. It's just that you experienced it at a different speed than somebody else, but you didn't go back.
yeah. That's funny though, because I was reading today that the satellites that rotate around the Earth gain 38 milliseconds per day. So like over time, like, and I was thinking like that's why the GPS is always messed up whenever they tell you to turn and the turn's not really there, is because the GPS like over the day it gets miscalibrated, and so that could lead up to 1 kilometer of miscalculation. I'm like, that's why Siri's always give me the wrong directions, man.
But is that because it's spinning faster than the Earth is rotating? Like, is it orbiting the Earth faster than the Earth actually rotates around the
Yeah,
sun?
yeah, no, it goes faster.
Okay. So is it really gaining a millisecond, or is just the way we measure it
I don't know, man. That's what
different?
the internet said. So I'm not a scientist, so I can't confirm nor deny if that's actually true. But that's what the internet was telling me.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Back to the light thing. One of our close friends, Manny,
Mm,
brought up brought up something that he had read before, and it kind of blew my mind a little bit.
what's that?
Right. Uh, so let's say you have a really high powered laser,
Yeah.
right? And you point it at a moon or a planet, right? And
Okay.
it's powerful enough that you can see the light hit it instantaneously, kind of, right? It's
Yeah.
traveling at the speed of light. You could see it there. You could see it with your binoculars, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were, and this is, I kind of want you to imagine how this would work a little bit, right?
All right.
So if you were to take that point and move it across the surface of the moon, like the visual surface of the moon,
Yeah.
where you are standing on Earth, it would only take you like a few degrees to move, right? To travel
Mm-hmm.
that entire distance.
Yeah.
But traveling that entire distance that fast is actually theoretically going faster than the speed of light. So, what would it look like to you looking at the moon, trying to watch this dot move across it?
I mean, it would. That'd be weird to watch.
Like
Like,
in my head, the light is bending, right? So
yeah.
where I am at, the light is actually ahead of where it would be on the moon, kind of like a giant.
Yeah, because it's gonna take you a second to process it.
Well, it's not you a second to process it. It's like the light literally can't travel faster than light. So the time it takes you to move it is faster than the time it takes the light to bounce on that surface and bounce back to your
Oh
retinas,
yeah.
right? It's just gonna look like it's lagged to me
Yeah.
I mean, the way I'm imagining it. So it'd be kind of like a weird curve light thing,
Hmm. I
right?
never thought about that. Because I mean, everything that you do, everything that you see, it takes your brain a second to process. So you're never really in the present.
Yeah, but I'm taking that out of the equation, right?
Yeah, no, I get that, but
I'm just saying, like, instantaneously, you can't,
yeah,
nothing can
yeah.
travel faster than light right now,
No, not right now.
which brings you to another travel theory, where theoretically, if you can travel faster than the speed of light, you might be able to actually travel through time. Which means if I can move that laser fast enough, I can go back in time.
You could theoretically, but the the light wouldn't. It would just be the light that would go back in time. Like you wouldn't go back in time. Like the light's not the
Yes,
machine.
I mean, someone much smarter than me that can do math would figure out a way to do it.
Oh yeah, but then you got like the
Right,
G
even the math's
force to
involved with that shit, but
yeah, the G forces to go the speed of light. Like I don't know if anybody's body would be able to handle that.
I don't think so.
I don't know. But that's like so time travel, and we were talking about this, and then I read this other thing today. Like deja vu is the brain synapses in one part of the lobe, and it's like an epileptic type connection of things that it might already happen that you're living through now, which could be just things that coincide on a different timeline that you've already done before.
So you're saying if I
Like if those timelines overlap,
have deja vu, it was like that little mini coherence event
yeah,
in which
yeah,
me,
man.
what if it's just the two, what if that little deja vu moment happened right after a decision? Like, what if it was just me feeling?
That's just the timelines crossing. That's the only second or like a little bit of time that they actually line up for two different timelines.
Maybe. I mean that it's sure. I don't.
I mean, there's no explanation for it.
Have you ever experienced deja vu before though?
Oh, all the time, like all the time. Like
See, I can't remember any time that I have. Like I know that I have. Like I've had a feeling where, hey man, we just did this, or I just saw this fucking thing happen, or this car move across the road. So I believe deja vu happens, but if it happens to you all the time, how many timelines are you jumping through, Shivate?
dude, could be all of them. How many decisions have I made in my life? That's the real question.
uh, yeah, that's a lot of time jumping.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
we can't all be as boring as you, or we're just on the same timeline the entire time.
I just make all the right decisions. Every version of me makes the same decision. I would never make a different decision.
Oh man, that's funny.
uh, that's essentially what it'd be like. Like every version of me possible would make this exact decision at this
Yeah.
exact same time,
Yep.
given any circumstance. Like I would never deviate.
Yeah.
That would mean that my destiny is pretty much locked in.
It's predetermined.
It's predetermined. But wouldn't that theoretically also make your destinies predetermined no matter what timeline you're in?
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
there could be a predetermined outcome for everything. So I mean, maybe that's your outcome. I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but
It's
if it splits and it makes a new you and a new universe that made that decision, then it's always going to be a new you that was supposed to make that decision.
yeah.
Right. Whether no matter what decision it was, left or right, there's two yous. One went left, one went right. One was always supposed to go left, one was always supposed to go right. Right. Unless there's a version of you that would never make that decision.
Yeah. That's a lot to process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you have like the wormhole.
Like the
Time travel.
black hole type stuff with the gravitational
Mhm.
pull.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's been close enough to actually do that though.
No, they haven't. And it doesn't have to be a black hole. Like a wormhole is just a tear in which light can't really escape it, I think. I don't know. It's something where you can travel through it. It's not necessarily a black hole because at the center of a black hole is just a collapsed star and just supreme and utter inescapable gravity.
Yeah, but gravity in and of itself could get you going fast enough to time travel.
Yeah, but
It,
you'd have to escape. Like when I think of a black hole, right? Uh, they call it a black hole because light can't
it's like a
escape
big
it, right?
vacuum. Yeah.
It's not even like a big. It's not even like a big vacuum to me. It's like in the center is just something so dense and so gravitationally strong that you could never escape it. Meaning, like if you go into it and you were to not get crushed to fucking death
Yeah.
or torn apart at molecular level, like there's no out. It's like going to the center of the earth and just sitting there. Right? Like you'd just be stuck in the center. In my head anyway. Like you
Yeah.
can't blip, blip. Like it doesn't tear a hole in the fabric of the space-time continuum and spit you out on the other end. I mean
Yeah.
it could. I don't know, but yeah, it'd be cool if like an actual physicist would answer on that.
Yeah, it would be. But even even the wormhole idea, like where would you come out at?
You would have no control over that, dude. Like, do you come out at another part of the galaxy, a part of the universe that we have never seen before,
Yeah.
or is there just like another dimension in which you would pop into?
You could be back on. I mean, that could.
You could be in like the upside down from Stranger Things, just
Yeah.
by going through
Yeah.
a black hole.
Good night, man. But that's like so the light year travel with Ender's Game, and they travel 1 light year in 1 month. But what about like Star Wars? Like they jump in a hyperdrive, and that's going faster than the speed of light. Like, are those people aging the amount of time that they're in hyperdrive?
I would say yes, but Star Wars doesn't do the uh relative aging due to time travel. Like you kind of just accept the fact that you can blink and be somewhere else and the same amount of time that happens, like past, right? And actually, if you could travel faster than the speed of light, I think you would overcome that aging process, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to go faster than light to experience time. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I think you'd have to go faster. Like if it does, like if I travel 1 light year a month and it takes me 10 months to get somewhere, okay,
Yeah.
but I can travel faster than that, then maybe the same amount of time. If I can instantaneously get to the new spot, regardless of how far I am, the same amount of time would have passed in both spaces,
Yeah.
right? Which maybe that's what Star Wars is doing.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. The way Ender's Game did take care of fast and light travel is like in a weird. Actually, I don't. If you want to read Ender's Game, just shut it off at this point because I don't want to spoil it for you. But it is a major thing in the actual Ender's Game series. Um, it, they there's they subscribe to like life as being from another plane of existence, right? Called the outside, and I forgot the name of it, but these little awias, I think is what they call them, contain life in the cellular level, molecular level, and then like the overall being, right? And your
Mm-hmm.
awia is you and holds all other awias, making up every single cell of your body together as you, right? And they come from a different area. So in Ender's Game, they developed a way to uh, pop into that outside is what they call it, where both nothing and everything exists at the same time because all the awias are there,
Yeah.
and then pop back into inside, which is our universe and galaxy, but wherever they want to be. So if they want to go from one planet to another, they go to the outside, where all of the planet's existence is shrunk down to the like head of a needle, just about, and then they can pop right back onto Earth or wherever the fuck they want to go.
Hmm.
But that's I don't think that could ever happen, right?
No. I mean, I don't think any of this could ever. I mean, maybe one day,
Maybe one
but
day, but it's definitely not like physically possible. I don't think.
not right now.
Then you have the Interstellar, where there's an actual wormhole that will that like shrinks the time it takes to get from point A to point B, which
Yeah.
is when they go and explore those planets. Expanse does a similar thing where they have that ring, and then you can go in the ring and then go to other parts of the galaxy and start colonizing those planets. But you would need something that can like kind of bend space, so you can just pop right through.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that I read today was the bending of, so it kind of looked like a taco. Like you would just go from one point
Yeah,
at the top to the next point on the bottom, and that you would skip whatever was in between.
yeah. You could probably do that taco thing with that whole high-powered laser if you moved it fast enough. But you'd have to be able to ride on an actual light wave
Yeah.
to get to do that.
But I think the funniest thing that I read today was that time was relevant to whoever was doing the action, because it's like my kid will
Yes.
ask me like, how long are we doing this for? I'm like, 5 minutes. They're like, man, it's a long time. I was like, it depends on who you ask, because 5 minutes to me
Mm-hmm.
could be different than 5 minutes from your mom, which is always the case.
Yeah. And did you notice too, when you were younger, days lasted forever?
Yeah. And now there's not enough time in the day to do everything that you
Like
want
10
to.
minutes. 10 minutes was like an infinite amount of time when I
Oh
was
yeah.
younger because I just perceived it as longer. But now like 10 minutes takes no time at all, unless it's something I absolutely don't want to do. Then it takes an
Forever.
excruciating long
Yeah, I mean, it's
period
still
of time.
it's still the reference portion of it. Like, how are you perceiving this time?
Yeah, it's crazy how like time, like a short amount of time, like 10 minutes, could feel super long and super short at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Or when we're doing the whole COVID thing, did you spend 15 minutes within 6 feet of somebody?
Yeah.
Right. And then after you do your whole spiel, you're like, this whole thing was 3 minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
keeping that in mind, have you spent 15
Yeah.
minutes in front of
Yeah.
somebody? You're like, I
Man.
don't know, dude. These 3 minutes seem like a long fucking time. Maybe I've only spent 3 minutes in front of people.
Yeah. Like, it's all relevant on what you're doing and how you're doing it, and then whether or
Yeah.
not you have somebody else with you.
Yeah, for sure. Um, um, I was just thinking about it because I was reading last week. I I wanted to know, and this has always been something that I'm super curious about, what older humans were like.
What do you mean?
You know, so the oldest written story we have is the Epic of Gilgamesh, right? By the
You're saying
Sumerians.
right, but like I have no
Yeah,
idea.
it is. The oldest stories are the Aboriginal. Oh, this is Hank, by the way. Get down, buddy.
He just wants to play.
The oldest, I know, the oldest Aboriginal, the oldest orally traditional told stories from what I read was the dreamscape stories from the Aboriginals, like their oral tradition of stories. But the Epic of Gilgamesh is like on 10 or so tablets. It's a story written by the Sumerians, which is like the oldest, not the oldest culture, but like one of the oldest Mesopotamian cultures that we've discovered. That we've discovered older ones, but they don't have any like written things that we could decipher.
Yeah.
Right. But I started reading it because I found like a free translated version online, and it doesn't seem that weird compared to some of the stories that we've heard uh, nowadays. You know what I mean?
For example,
Like, I don't want to get too into it.
like just give me an
So
example.
it's so he's a king,
Uh-huh.
right? Uh, and he's kind of bored and he's being a dick to his subjects, right? So his subjects pray to the gods to kind of help him out. They're like, "Hey, this Gilgamesh, he's dude, he's cool, he's perfect in every way. He's like strong, he's handsome, but he's doing kind of fucked up shit. Like people are getting married, and he spends the first night with the new bride, right? The bride tax or whatever that shit's called.
Yeah. But I mean that still happens
So
today
people,
in some cultures.
it does, it does still happen today, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like this is thousands of years old, and they're talking about it
Man.
back then. So the gods are like, hey, well, it was one hunter kid in particular that prayed, or he didn't. I don't know if they prayed, but he found the guy. So the gods make a guy. I think his name is like Acadia, something like that. A kidney. I don't know, but he was made to be essentially a feral version of Gilgamesh.
Uh-huh.
Gilgamesh was like in these robes and all hoity-toity. This dude was like running around with the beasts of the woods,
Yeah.
uh, drinking fucking milk from deers. He thought he was an animal, but he was a straight up human and huge. Um, and how they got this dude to kind of help him out. So the gods made him, but they needed to get him to Gilgamesh. And when the hunter kid saw him, he's like, "How do I do it?" So his dad literally told him to go get a whore, go to town, get a whore, and then put her where this dude drinks his stuff. Like he goes to the watering hole and drinks there. So like put her there, then he'll see her, and then they'll hook up, and he won't be as feral anymore. He'll be more like
Hmm.
a man, right? And
Interesting.
he did. They apparently banged for 6 days and 7 nights straight.
That's interesting. Like, how was the earth made?
In that, I don't know how they made it in that story, but
Well, no, I'm just talking about like in the Bible. Well, like
uh,
the earth was made in 6 days. On the seventh day, God rested. So I mean,
yeah,
6 days, 7 nights. Like took the last.
yeah.
I mean, it all kind of
You,
correlates together.
you hear those numbers all the time, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he becomes more human. The kid and the prostitute bring him to the city of Anuk where Gilgamesh is reigning, and this dude just like tries to fight Gilgamesh,
Hmm.
and they go fisticuffs, man. They're fucking fighting each other, but ultimately he loses, right? And in losing, he's like, "Hey, man, you're just like me. We're cool. We should be friends." And Gilgamesh thinks the same thing, and now they're buddies. They're like best of buds,
Yeah.
right? And now it's like the Echidna and Gilgamesh adventures. So they go and kill a fucking giant in the woods,
Hmm.
right? They kill a giant bull that the god sent to kill Gilgamesh because he's been fucking doing too much dope shit, right? Ultimately, the gods end up taking his body away from him. They kill him with sickness of some sort because Gilgamesh becomes too powerful, and that's kind of where I left off. But
Yeah.
um, like even the fighting of the giants, right? Or the giant, um, which might have been a dragon because that it breathes fire.
Hmm.
But you'll read. I was reading these stories, and I had like a map of Mesopotamia up, and I could essentially track where he was going because it existed.
At that time.
Well, also in real life, like he goes to fight the giant, and it talks about him having to go up a mountain that's like uh 2,000 leagues or 20,000 leagues big or something like that, which is pretty big,
Yeah.
just a little bit big.
Yeah. It's like
Um,
20,000 leagues under the sea.
Made of giant cypress trees, and where it's suspected to be is in Lebanon, where they have forests made of cypress trees.
Interesting.
Yeah, dude.
Hmm.
So like just going on these like ancient story adventures and trying to see where these things are actually connected in
Yeah.
the real world.
Dude, that'd
Uh,
be, yeah, that's something to get into.
yeah, it is. It's super, super duper something to get into.
Yeah. And it's just like everything's at the tip of your fingertips with the internet.
Yeah, like I was on that. What was it? I forgot what I was doing, dude. But I had like a couple hours to kill, so just reading about the Epic of Gilgamesh. I want to finish it now, though. I'm pretty hooked on that story. I need to know what ends up happening to him, man.
Yeah,
His
it's like,
people, his people ended up loving him at the end, mostly because he stopped banging their wives. But
I mean,
I feel
that'd
like,
be cool.
I feel like it's also he was like killing shit and bringing them riches.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think from there I might do. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about Atlantis.
Atlantis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of movies about it, or a lot of comic books about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of research done about it. I mean, I just don't think that we can go deep enough to actually find it if it does exist, or know the coordinates to actually go where we need to. But it's definitely interesting because all this folklore stuff, right? How did people come up with it? Like it had to have happened eventually, you know what I mean? Or maybe it didn't. But I mean, at the same time, like somebody somewhere saw it and then they talked about it or wrote it down, or maybe they just made it up.
Yeah, I mean, Atlantis was written by Plato, and he was a pretty smart dude. We quote a lot of his.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't, but people
I
quote a
mean,
lot of his philosophies. But there's like a couple schools of thought on it. One, it's not a real place, and Plato was just using it as like a philosophical device and a way of thinking of a culture that's so perfect, but could be ended on a single note, right?
yeah.
Then there's the people that take it literal and it fell into the sea.
I mean,
And
that could have
then
been
I
an
watched,
earthquake. Like
could have
there's
been.
Well, like just like the earthquake that was in Japan, or what could happen on the San Andreas Fault, like if the big earthquake ever did happen, like ever did hit, and California falls into the water.
Yeah. And then there's the school thought that, and it's probably because it's the first video or the most recent weird shit video that I've seen, is that Atlantis didn't fall into the ocean, and it's actually on land and was destroyed by kind of like a tsunami type event where it didn't fall in, it just got like flooded, and then when the waters receded, most of their shit went out,
I
but it's
mean,
still on land somewhere.
that could be it too. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, who knows, dude? But I'm gonna send you a link to a video later. But this dude was talking about how they think it was discovered in the Sahara Desert, um, the northwestern part, because there's these structures called the Rakat structures, which are like these circular, um, I don't know, these circular rings in the desert,
Uh-huh.
which kind of, and I haven't read Plato's story, so I don't know
Might have some
too
homework to
well.
do.
Yeah, I have a lot of homework to do. Like, I got to read all sorts of crazy science stuff. But yeah, it has the three circles that Plato was describing. Uh, Back when the Sahara was like lush vegetation and not an actual desert,
Yeah.
it would have had the exotic fruits. It had the rivers that
Would have
may
run
have
through it.
meshed,
Yeah.
would have run through it. It was close enough to the ocean, and it looks like there was a mudslide that wiped a lot of it out.
Now, what time frame are we talking about with this? Because if you go
Uh,
if you go back to like Pangea, where all the continents were closer together, it could have been in a different spot than what it
so
was
I
than it was now.
I am the worst with dates, so I can't tell you a time
Mm,
frame, but I can tell you that Egypt was a superpower
yeah,
based on the video that I saw. And I got to get that dude's name, man. I'll probably tell you about it, and then you can put it in the description.
yeah.
So that way he gets like credit for it. But um, what was I saying? But the refugees would have been able to make it to Egypt and resettle over there.
Yeah.
So Egypt was a thing. It just wasn't as big or as powerful as what we would consider Atlantis. Oh, and the Rakat structure is also by the Atlas Mountains.
The city of Atlantis by the Atlas Mountains. I
Yeah.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
that'd be interesting to see.
It would be. But yeah, I'm thinking we pick a weird pseudo historical fact like this or
I'm
ancient
down.
legends, and then we do our research and
Give our take
discuss.
on it. Yeah,
Yeah, spin it that way.
would be interesting.
Yeah.
We'll have to put that up and see what the fans say.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that nobody talks to us on the Facebook or Instagram or Reddit or Twitter,
Yeah,
but
but they
it's
talk
all
to
good.
us.
They'll
But
vote
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, and a lot of times they'll just talk to us in person.
Yeah, it's true too.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, man, that's pretty much the gist of it. If you could travel back in time, what would be the first thing you did?
Oh shit, that's a good one. I don't know, man. Like, there's so many things that I would want different, but at the same time not. So like, I don't know where my inject would change things or how they would change.
So you would go straight to changing something in your life.
Like, feel like if you went back in time, if you did anything, it would change something in the future.
Yeah, let's just say you have the choice to do it, but you have to actually like actively try to change something, or you could do anything else.
And just like watch something.
Like butterfly effect is not an effect.
Okay.
Like you could just watch
Um,
something, or you can hang out with somebody, but you have like no actual impact to the change of the future
oh man. Um,
unless you will it to be so.
man, there's so much cool shit that you could go and see.
Yeah.
Um, oh, insert random national historical event here.
Dude, I mean, I already said I'd go and look at all of those ancient civilizations just to see what the
What
people look
what they
like,
were doing.
what they were eating, like walking through the markets and just smelling what it smelled like back then. Like, is
That
it
would be
just
yeah, that would be pretty
straight
cool.
straight BO all the time, or is it like
I mean, yeah, I mean deodorant hadn't been invented yet.
it
Uh
hadn't, but people did want to smell good. Like people
I
would
mean
rub shit on
yeah.
themselves.
Yeah, they did have oils and perfumes like in Egypt and
Yeah.
whatnot, but like even before that, like cavemen or um like the Native Americans or the whomever, like the indigenous tribes, like they didn't have any of that stuff. But like I would go super far back, like I wouldn't say dinosaurs, but probably to like the creation. Like if I knew the exact date, I'd probably go to whatever you believe, Adam or Eve, or when the first man walked out of the water.
So you would go to the beginning of time,
Yeah,
essentially. Like you would
like
go.
man's first day on Earth. Like what was he doing?
So you'd go man's first day, not like first moment that the universe existed.
No, man's first day on Earth.
Man's first day on Earth that'd be a cool one.
Like were there two
Just
people? Was there one person?
was was there a group?
Yeah,
Like, you don't know. Yeah, that would be pretty cool to see, dude. Just like a caveman waking up one morning, like, where the fuck am I?
yeah.
Or
Like
like Adam,
yeah,
what
how
the
did I
fuck?
get here?
Where am I? Just like picking his nose and shit.
Yeah. Or the first baby born from primates that didn't have any hair on it, and it was a man.
Yeah. Or if you could go to the Garden of Eden and hang out with Adam, like just start naming animals with him.
Just fuck shit.
Hey, Adam, like you said, this thing's a spider. How about you call it creepy crawly leggy guy?
Just imagine like all the females like there's a creepy crawly leggy thing in the
uh, or like actually talk to historical figures, have a conversation with them, see what they were
Yeah.
thinking.
They're like, yeah, this shit's all messed up. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
change it.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
not
what
working for me.
were you guys really thinking about when you put together the Second Amendment?
Yeah.
Because, like,
That yeah.
really,
Like, so I'm from year 2021, right? Like, what were you really trying to get? What was
yeah,
your point you're trying to get across?
yeah, because it's super messed up there right now. Um, man, that'd be pretty funny.
Bring an iPhone
From
with you.
Yeah, because from everything I read, our founding fathers weren't super religious.
No,
No,
they were not.
yeah, but yeah, dude, Theodore Roosevelt would be a cool person to hang out with.
Yeah.
All the stories I read about him. It would also be kind of disappointing though to meet some of these people that have like epic stories told about them, and they're just boring as fuck.
That's probably the way that they were. Like that
Like,
was the only thing that happened in their entire life.
yeah, like Abe Lincoln, for example, right? He had a crazy time as president, and he was a wrestler,
And a
but
vampire killer.
mm, it's not
They made
canonized yet. It's not canonized yet, but you might be able to go back in time and prove that he was.
yeah, I mean they made a
Right?
movie about it, so it has to be true.
It it's also a book that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Uh, from that same author, they wrote Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, which is one of my favorite books of all time.
I haven't read that one.
Read it. It's highly recommend it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what if all the time leading up to that, he was just like chilling as a lawyer, like just filing paperwork, doing people's taxes,
I mean,
doing board.
did
He
they
was a
pay
lawyer.
state taxes back then? Like, did you have to give taxes to the government?
I'm pretty sure taxes have always been a thing.
I feel like that's why we got away from England.
We got away from England because we were being taxed without representation.
Yeah.
No taxation without representation. But if you were being taxed by the government that is representing you, then it would be okay.
When people started paying. Like the IRS wasn't around.
No,
like,
but taxes has been a thing since humans have been like in societies, dude.
Yeah,
like
no, I get that.
You'd pay taxes to kings. Before that, you would pay a tribute to a more powerful fucking tribe so they wouldn't fuck you up. You're like, all right, here's
I
like,
feel like there's a bigger conspiracy behind this fucking tax thing.
probably we can look it up. Like, how did
Yeah.
taxes start?
Like, why do I pay taxes? Like,
Well, I
what is it
know
actually
why.
doing?
What it's supposed to be doing is like making roads and paying for schools and
Yeah, that's not
police
happening.
officers and our salaries as military personnel.
I'm paying myself over here.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be doing, but uh, I don't know if it's actually doing all of that, or if it is, but in the most inefficient way possible.
But I mean, back in the day, like paying taxes to the king, were they fixing the roads, like putting new cobbles down?
Some kings were just fucking hoarding that shit, which is why they got overthrown. And then they would also pay for like their army and shit. So if they got attacked, like you had someone that was on the hook to protect you.
Hmm.
Right.
So many rabbit holes.
Yeah. And then the whole point of paying a tribute to someone stronger than you, that kind of sucks.
Well, I mean, that's like in the mob or the mafia or
Yeah,
whatever, where you have to.
extortion.
Yeah, I mean, that's a
Get
tax.
extorted.
Yeah,
Yep.
like we'll let you work here, but you're gonna pay us so that nobody breaks your shit.
And by nobody, I mean me, because I'm
Yeah,
gonna come and
yeah.
break your shit if you don't pay me.
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah. How do we get on taxes?
I don't know. Who knows, man?
Who knows anything anymore?
I mean, exactly. Like, what do you actually know about anything?
I know nothing. Oh, dude, can you imagine not having the internet nowadays? Like we didn't have it when we were kids, but like if you wanted to learn anything, you had to go out and find it, right?
Yeah, you had to
But
go to the library and look in the little catalog and go through
the
the
Dewey
little.
Dewey Decimal System, which I
Yep.
spent so much time learning and never actually fucking used. I'm like, when I'm an
Yeah.
adult, I'm gonna need to know these number
Yeah. No.
category things.
No.
Now I just type it
Uh,
into Google.
life without the internet now. I tried to explain it to Leo the other day because we were eating dinner and we were talking about the television, and he was like, "So what happened? Like, did the volume change?" And I'm like, "No, like if you missed a television show, it just kept playing, and like you would
Yeah,
miss it."
you'd miss whatever part of it that you missed,
Yeah,
and then you
and
had to hope that it came on again.
like he couldn't wrap his head around it, and it was just the funniest thing. Like I was like, dude, it's way over your head for this conversation right now. Like you're just not grasping the concept of things move on whether you're there or not.
Yeah.
Like,
For me, it's the satisfying the curiosity. Like it was just so much work and labor intensive to go and actually learn something.
yeah,
And you had to know what you wanted to learn. Like it
yeah,
couldn't be
you couldn't type in random things into the
there,
internet.
there was no library algorithm to like throw books that you may like at you. You know
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean?
yeah,
But now like while you're taking a shit, you can come across a video on how underwater submarines works all the way
mm-hmm.
to um interstellar travel, like whatever the fuck you
Yeah,
want, it's on there.
yeah. No, the internet is literally probably the best invention that man has done.
Yeah. Yep. But what's your favorite, like you're guilty, oh, I have a few minutes, let me watch this YouTube video or this genre of YouTube
Oh man,
or just
it's
video in general?
yeah, no. I always get stuck on when people make things out of nothing that are super handy. Like I watched today, like before we started talking, this dude took a piece of angle iron and welded it together. Then he put some bearings on there and some all thread and put two nuts on there so he can make a pipe roller. And I was like, I mean, yeah, you could do that. But like it's always the things like it would be super handy that people make, like tools and shit like that.
Yeah, I'm I can watch this one channel called Primitive Technologies all fucking day long,
Yeah.
which I think you would like it, but he doesn't weld or anything like that. It's like some guy and he's in the woods with shorts on. He doesn't say a word. All he has is shorts, like no shirt,
Yeah.
no nothing, and he just makes like houses and furnaces and kilns and axes, bows, arrows, whatever like he wants to do, but using nothing but primitive technologies. Like, for example, the bow. He had an episode where to make the bow he used an axe, but if you go back another episode, you see him actually go and make the axe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So like you can keep going back to see the
Where he
point
made the tools from.
where he made the tools from, and he started with nothing but a little river basin with like clay and shit or some
Yeah.
rocks. So you're like, oh
Man.
damn, dude.
Yeah. That's
Right?
like
He
the
had, yeah. Go on.
that's like the videos of people making houses out of a bucket and just
Yeah,
water and clay, and then they have a fireplace. And this dude made a pool and like dug a trench from the river so they could have running water. And I'm like, this is bananas, dude.
yeah. The primitive technology guys does that
Yeah.
like 100%, and I can't stop watching it. But it's just him by himself and one camera. Like that's it. And then other than that, uh, smarter every day, and then at some point I'll end up in a weird pseudoscience conspiracy website of some kind.
Yeah.
That's kind of the trend of my YouTube watching.
I don't get on YouTube's that much. Like my most of my main scrolling comes from the Facebook
Yeah, no,
and
I
the pages that I follow on that, and it's mostly welding or like the primitive technology people or whatever it is, and just people making random things. I'm like, or how it's made. That always got me when it was on television was how it's made. I would
oh
sit there and
how
watch
it's
that,
made, dude.
dude, all day long.
Man, how it's made and unwrapped, I all day.
Yeah,
I could watch a marathon right now. Like I could
yeah.
walk upstairs and there'd be a marathon of how it's made, and that's what I'm doing for the rest of the
Like,
evening.
how do you make a CD? And like the little
Yeah.
British dude comes on and like you press the plastic and then you put the
Dude, I
thing.
saw how it's made and how they make granite countertops, like from the moment they harvest the granite from a quarry to the moment it gets installed into your kitchen.
Yeah,
And I was like, this is super, it takes days to cut,
yeah.
like
It ain't easy.
fucking days. Like once they chop the block, it's just a machine just sawing for days,
Mm-hmm.
days and days and days.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. Oh man, that no wonder it's expensive as fuck. He's got like fucking 5 days to sit to just chop
Saw the electricity
countertop.
just spinning.
Yeah, just spinning. I think they use water or some
Like
like just
a water jet takes days.
no, it's like a water powered saw.
Uh,
Yeah, I think I don't remember. It's been a little while since I've seen
mm,
that video.
yeah, but watching stuff get made is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yep. All
All
right.
right,
Where are we at on time?
hour and 7 minutes, give or take.
Hour and 7 minutes, give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening to us ramble on about a little bit of time travel, old people, and what we're into when we take a shit.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, as always, social media, Two Dummies and a Microphone, Two Dummies Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, now YouTube. Go watch the video. Let us know what you think. Like and subscribe. And we'll put some more polls out there so we can find the direction that y'all want us to go. And don't be shy. Drop us a line. Two Dummies Podcast at gmail.com. All right, man.
All right. Later.
Deuces.
Deuces.